How you guys doing today? This is Darius from Down TV. Welcome to the channel. So today I wanted to go in on Dr. Umar. He was talking about black men being accountable and black women, why she's masculine, why she the way she is in modern times. So let's get into the grease.
Can have sex whenever she wants,
Right.
because she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get. I have two daughters, 11 and 20, right? My oldest will be 21 this week. Statistically, right? There's a strong chance my daughter could be one of those. I hope she's not. She could be one of those who never get a husband because only 1 out of 4 gets a husband. You see that? So when a black woman says, I don't need a man, that is a reaction to the reality that I may not get a man.
So why not preach? Because I understood, you're obviously against interracial relations when it comes to black men with with white women.
With all women. You should only be with the black woman.
And you will say, well, if you can't find a good woman in America, there's
somewhere
plenty
else.
in Africa.
Absolutely.
So why not teach that same rhetoric to our women? Like if you feel
I tell sisters all the time, go to Africa.
So
I know sisters who marry. I just spoke with a sister. She invited me to the wedding. She just married a brother from the continent.
But instead of saying they will never
I'll
get
take
married,
the sisters to Africa who married brothers they met in Africa.
Right.
So yeah,
I think there's plenty. I think there's obviously plenty of black men and black women. So
and what I also
saying
tell black women, if you're gonna go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're gonna have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
And the reason why that is because in Africa, men have full authority over their wives and their children, and the government is not involved in domestic disputes. So if a black woman talks to a black man trash in the US, there ain't really nothing he can do about it. He just has to take it or leave. But in Africa, men have full authority in their community tribal based kind of system. The men can discipline or the family can correct a woman's bad behavior. Where in the States, we cannot correct women's bad behavior if you're married to her. Obviously, if you're in a relationship where she can't divorce you and take all your money and put you on alimony and child support, then you can kind of just basically the only thing you can do is just walk away from the relationship. But in Africa, black women cannot treat men with disrespect.
But it's not tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us though. Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now. And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be your man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever.
Now, this is a rule for just in general. Women are horrible at picking men to be in a relationship with or marriage. They're horrible at it. This is why our forefathers did arranged marriages, because the father knows what's best. But the black condition is a little bit different because most black families are raised by single moms, because women kicked out the father of their children due to a lot of the welfare spending. Get a lot of benefits from the welfare programs back in the 70s. That's why a lot of single motherhood rate really skyrocketed and started in the 70s and worked their way up.
Like, pull back, I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created.
Life's too short to be patient for a woman who doesn't respect you and who won't treat you as you should be treated. She's not serving you. She's not giving her feminine essence. Life is too short for that. To waste your time with a woman who doesn't have it together. There's nothing wrong with you dating outside your race. Dr. Umar is wrong on that instance because life is too short. We're all human at the same time. Get you a good woman who's going to treat you good because life is too short. The black community cannot be saved at this point in time unless men are willing to sacrifice a lot. And most black men aren't. So
and then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course she's going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. We are not.
So what Dr. Umar is basically saying, so the guy, the dreadhead guy, basically was saying, we have to be women, black women pick poorly. They pick the Pookies and Ray Rays. Dr. Umar, I understand what he's saying. The women, the reason why they're picking Pookies and Ray Rays in the hood is because we, the successful black men, left the hood and abandoned it and not be able to create a good community there. We left the community. So all she has is Pookies and Ray Rays. But at the same time, I understand why the black men left. There was a lot going on. You have to fight gangs, drug dealers. You outnumbered. There weren't enough men, good men, who would have to risk their lives and stand up and clean the community. That is something a government has to do. A few good men cannot beat an organized crime like that unless they have the backing of the government. So I get both sides, but like I said, there's a reason why those men left the hood, because it wasn't worth risking their lives to try to clean up the community, get rid of the gangs, and then help the single moms with their children.